Welcome to today's debate. Our topic for today is, should cancel culture be seen as a form of social justice or online bullying? Each speaker will have 1 minute to present their statements. Let's dive right in. Let's hear from our public figure first.
My name is Sakila and I believe that cancel culture is just a way for people to cyberbully others for these following reasons. As someone who's been in the public eye for many years, I've witnessed how cancel culture takes some minor mistakes, often something from years ago, and magnifies it into something destructive. Public figures are targeted not because of their action in the moment, but because of past mistakes, sometimes taken completely out of context. In many cases, there's no space for growth, apology, or change for people to learn and evolve. Instead of holding someone accountable, cancel culture is often just a public shaming tool that punishes without a fear of change for redemption. It's not justice, it's digital bullying, and it has real consequences for people's careers and mental health.
Thank you. Now let's hear from the online activist.
My name is Safira and I agree with the idea of cancel culture being of cyberbullying too. And the reason for that is cancel culture is not about bullying. It's about accountability for far too long. Powerful imposition of the influence have offended the consequences of their action, especially in case of misconduct, exploitation, or harm. Social media platforms give marginalized voice the chance to call out the injustice when traditional system fail to do so. The public outcry is from collective action that ensures that people, especially those in power, are held responsibility for their harmful action. Cancel culture can be catalyst for important social change by forcing us to address uncomfortable truth, and ensure that no one is above accountability, no matter their status or popularity.
Thank you. Moving on to the communication scholar.
My name is Aisha and I see both sides of pros and cons of the cancel culture. Here are my reasons. As a communication scholar, I can see that there's a clear benefit to using collective power to hold people accountable, particularly when institutions fail to act. On the other hand, we also need to recognize that cancel culture can blur the line of accountability and harassment. The very platforms that give us power also make it easy for that power to be misused. Let's recognize the fact that cancel culture can perpetuate existing systemic biases. Study shows that marginalized individuals, especially Black women, are disproportionately affected by cancel culture. So my argument on what we should do about cancel culture is that if we're going to hold someone accountable for their wrong action, we should do it the right way. Identify the issue and its impact carefully while focusing on the behavior rather than the person. Understand the situation. Ask yourself, why is this person's behavior problematic? What negative impact does it have on other people? Rather than seeing cancel culture as a catch-all solution or a bullying tool, we need to think about the potential of justice and ways to foster understanding of the issue.
Now we move to rebuttal round. Each of you will have 1 minute to respond to one or more opposing perspectives. Ms. Akila, you're up first.
I understand the importance of accountability, but cancel culture goes beyond accountability. It often becomes a mob mentality. People aren't always seeking the truth. They are looking for someone to blame, and it's usually the person at the top. We don't see women calling out the situation with the same level of fervor. Instead, individuals are crucified on social media platforms, sometimes with little more than a viral post. Take, for example, Justin Seko, who lost her job and reputation over a single tweet. Even though she apologized and explained, there's no space for real, genuine accountability when the response is so extreme. We need better ways of holding people accountable that don't completely destroy their lives.
Thank you. Ms. Shafira, your rebuttal.
I heard your question, but let's be clear. Cancel culture is not about destroying people. It's about consequence. We live in a world where powerful individuals often escape responsibility for their action, especially when traditional institutions protect them. What cancel culture does is give a voice to those who are often silenced. People are not being cancelled for simply making a mistake. They are being held accountable for their action when they harm others. And let's be honest, apologies are often half-hearted and made for self-preservation, not because someone is in genuine seeking change. It's important that cancel culture keep pushing for this accountability, especially for those in position of privilege.
Thank you. Miss Aisha, any rebuttal?
Okay, both of you raised important points, but there are complexities that we need to acknowledge. First, while accountability is vital, cancel culture can often lead to undeserved punishment. It can also target individuals without giving them the opportunity for growth or understanding, especially when actions are misinterpreted or taken out of context. Additionally, cancel culture isn't always consistent since, like I said before, people of color are often more targeted harshly than the others. We must think critically about whether cancel culture truly leads to lasting change or if it merely just replicates existing biases. The solution may not lie in erasure, but in restorative justice approaches that allow individuals to learn and take accountability without facing irreversible consequences.
Let's move into an open discussion. You may speak freely and respond to each other.
I believe cancel culture at its core is grassroots to accountability if give voice to marginalized community whose historical been silenced. When public figure or institution purpose harm, be it racism or sexism or abuse, calling them out is a way of defending justice.
I get that, but as someone in the public eye, I can tell you cancel culture often becomes a witch hunt. People make mistakes, sometimes years ago, and suddenly they're attacked by millions of strangers. There's no room for growth or redemption. That's not justice, that's mob rule.
Interesting points. From a communication perspective, cancel culture operates like digital collective action, but it's complex. On one hand, it's empowering. On the other hand, it can escalate into harassment, especially without nuance or context.
But what the alternative? We try polite conversation and power structure don't change. Cancel culture might be messy, but it's hold people accountable in a way traditional system haven't.
I agree some people deserve to be called out, but the problem is when the punishment doesn't fit the crime. One bad tweet shouldn't ruin a person's career. The internet doesn't forget, it doesn't forgive. That feels like bullying.
That raises an important question. Is the goal punishment or transformation? Cancel culture tends to focus on exile, but true justice involves listening, learning, and repair, not just outrage.
I think people forget that canceling doesn't always mean cowardice. It often just means facing consequence. If someone refuses to acknowledge harm, then maybe they shouldn't have an platform.
But there's no consistent standard. Some people get cancelled for nothing, while others get away with real harm. And people doing the cancelling, they're not always pure either. It becomes a game of power, not justice.
So perhaps we need to differentiate between call-out culture, which can promote awareness, and cancel culture, which can become punitive. The digital space amplifies both intentions and consequences. Now, I want to ask both of you, do you really think cancel culture is more of a social justice or online bullying? Because I think it depends on the context and perspective.
To me, it's social justice, imperfect but necessary to challenge injustice.
It's online bullying in disguise, often more harmful than helpful.
Thank you for the interesting discussion. Let's wrap up with your final thoughts. Let's begin.
In conclusion, cancel culture often punishes individuals without allowing for growth, learning, or apologies. Accountability is important, but it shouldn't mean the end of someone's career of life. We need a system that allows people to take responsibility while also offering them a path forward.
Cancel culture is necessary in work where traditional systems often fail to provide accountability, empower A silenced voice hold people in power responsible and push society toward meaningful change. It's not about errors but about justice.
While cancel culture can be effective in holding people accountable, we must consider its consequences. The lack of consistency, especially with marginalized groups, and the risk of online harassment suggests that we need to think about better approaches to accountability.
Thank you to all our speaker and everyone listening. That concludes our debate on whether cancel culture should be seen as a form of social justice or online bullying. We hope this discussion gave you something to think about. Have a great day.